that I'm no joke. No joke, baby, I'm no joke. Oh, na, na, na. No joke, baby, I'm no
Hi guys, welcome to Talk That Talk. You're joined today by your host, Porsche, and to the left of me, I've got the beautiful Faith, the handsome Clint, the savvy Iysh, and our very own Gigi. So today's topic, we are going to be discussing narcissism and dating. Before we start, guys, can we just clarify what narcissism is, please?
Can I just say, none of us here are psychotherapists. So that's the first... Gigi, do you also
No. I was just going to say, I'm interested in Porsche's input in this because of your work in mental health.
Okay.
I believe it's a personality disorder, borderline mental health issue.
Because there's a difference between narcissistic traits, being a narcissist, and actually been diagnosed with a narcissistic personality disorder. And I think we're going to talk about... I mean, I'm going to talk for myself. I'm just going to talk about the narcissistic traits that I have experienced in dating. I'm not going to talk too tough about, because I'm not a psychiatrist or psychologist, so I'm not going to talk about...
Clint's spoiling to say something. Go on. Get it out.
But yeah, I think...
They're all the same.
They're not the same, though. This is a clinical...
No.
This is clinically recognised that there is a you can have narcissistic traits and not be... have narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay, I think that's a thin line. I think, the thin line is self-consciousness and empathy. I think narcissists lack self-consciousness and empathy.
Amongst other traits as
Do you know
well.
what?
Yeah, but that's quite important.
There's a therapist that said that all the narcissists that he's kind of tried to help through therapy, he finds that they do have empathy, but only for themselves. So they have a very poor me victim mentality. So they do have empathy, but it's for themselves.
That's not empathy then.
Where it's not empathy yet. So basically the only person that they care about
Is themselves.
Yeah, okay, so lack of empathy for others.
Yeah, from a fundamental level, because one of the really defining traits of a narcissist is that just one of them is that they use people to their advantage. And that's often why they make really good salespeople, because they're able to read. And that does take a level of, it's a type of empathy to be able to read somebody, but it's not the type of empathy to be able to see them on a human level, which is why... they discard people once they're.
I mean, it's interesting to hear. I've heard the word narcissist fly around since the start of Twitter. And everyone now is diagnosing everyone else as being a narcissist. If they come out of a techie relationship, that guy was a narcissist, that amongst other keywords. But I mean, it'll be interesting to hear you guys' experience of dating narcissists, if you have, or you could be a narcissist yourself. And how that's worked out. So yeah, Clint is itching to go. Let's start with you, Clint. Go on.
You know what it is? I think that you don't realise you are a narcissist until I had to look at the definition. I can't remember off the top of my mind, but I definitely had to look at it and be like, you know what? There's a little bit of me in there.
Yeah.
But you can have narcissistic traits. Because I find...
Can I finish?
I was actually going to give you a compliment, but go ahead, finish. I was going to say, you seem like quite a nice guy. You don't really seem like you don't come across that way. But then again, narcissists don't. But go ahead.
Cheers, Gav. I'll take that for what it is. I say it to you guys all the time. I'm really about self-coaching. So I feel like at some points in my day, normally at the end of my day, but something could have happened throughout the day. I've had an interaction with someone that didn't really go too well. When I'm by myself, I start looking over the situation, how I could have spoken better, maybe...
Reflecting.
Sorry?
Reflecting.
Yeah, and I do that a lot about myself. But then what I find is, although I feel like that's helped me grow, it helped me to interact with people in a better way. As soon as you come across someone that doesn't have that at all, these are the people that I kind of clash with. So if someone's completely self-centered, like what you're saying that the narcissists only are thinking about themselves the whole time. trying to communicate with these kind of people, I struggle. I find it really, really kind of like, well, I have a concern for myself, as in to improve, and I've got a concern for you, for us to be able to improve whatever's wrong, but you're only thinking about yourself.
But see,
You know what I mean?
I find it, it's a superiority complex, but I find that a superiority complex often is hiding an inferiority complex. So these people act this way, they act superior because within them, they feel inferior. And a lot of studies have shown that narcissism begins with childhood, when children are praised for the wrong things, for their achievements, their appearance, stuff like that, and not for their inner value and just being children. So they grow up always craving that, and kind of, a lot of narcissists are very successful because not only do they get people roped into their relationships, even for business and stuff like that, they're very good at using people. So a lot of narcissists are very successful, but they build their success off of other people's energy and narcissistic supply is what they call it.
Okay, so just to reel it back to the main topic, how does this play out in relationships?
It will ruin you. Run.
Yeah.
Well,
Run.
I think
I was going to say, I've actually dated someone that is a narcissist. At the time of dating them, I had no idea. I just knew that person was not good for me. It wasn't until years later they actually got help. I don't even think they even got help because they thought they were narcissists. I just think it just came out in therapy. And they reached out to me to try and apologise about the behaviour. And anyway, I won't go into it too tough. But all I would say is that when you are someone who isn't, I mean, I feel like we're all kind of on the spectrum. It's a spectrum, really. But when you're someone that is dealing with someone who has a personality disorder, I don't see any way in which it could ever work. It could just never work. They don't function on the same level as a, I want to say normal, but you know what I mean? Someone that's not a narcissist.
That doesn't lack that much emotional intelligence.
Yeah, and I think as well, like, narcissism can look like very different things. So from what I experienced, it was, obviously they all have like common hallmarks. Like there was a lot of, is it grandiosity? That this individual was, yeah, he had delusions of grandeur. And he also put down people around him to kind of prop himself up. To me, I could sense that he was very deeply insecure in many ways. And it was, yeah, that's just amongst other things. But one of the other things as well that I found really interesting in the research for this topic was that sometimes narcissists can present themselves as people you feel sorry for, because they're always like, woe is me. I think they call that a covert narcissist. So they're usually the victim in everything. They're often not really doing much with their lives. They have like a failure to launch complex. And they're often the ones that kind of get mistaken. And it's, again, it can be very destructive in a relationship, so.
Okay, I mean, again, going back to social media, I could see, like, when people refer to narcissists, they're usually attributing that to males. Do you think...
100%.
Do you think, not saying that it's true, but do you think that you're more likely to come across a male narcissist opposed to a female narcissist? Do you feel like women don't take ownership? I mean, men don't take ownership of that title either, but do you feel like men are less likely to label a woman narcissist and just say she's troubled or she's mad?
Toxic.
She's
crazy.
Yeah. That's the word.
I don't know if a man would label it depends what kind of narcissist, because narcissists are quite calculated.
they're not going to use the word narcissist. They're just going to say you're tapped.
Do you think it's not in their vocabulary?
It's not in their vocabulary.
Yeah.
But women are narcissistic.
Yeah.
I have a lot of narcissistic traits.
Do you want to go into more detail about that?
Like what?
Manipulation.
How?
I have the tendency to manipulate people sometimes.
Yeah, look,
To my advantage.
Give us an example. Just gone left, obviously.
What do you mean I've gone left? What, you want me to give you an example of me manipulating someone?
Yeah, what, like, so you're giving a name to what happened that went left. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean, how did it go left?
When I say left, I mean it just
I
went
know my
complete
manipulation never
Pete
goes left
Tong,
because
yeah.
I always get what I want.
You always get what you want.
100%. 100%.
Yeah, right.
But what am I manipulating someone if I'm not going to get what I want for? What am I going to put my energy into that for?
Why would you want to manipulate someone though?
Because I'm a narcissist.
I
I can't explain to you why I want to do it. Because
but-
I'm a fucking narcissist.
But you know
it,
what?
I
At
get
least
it.
you're saying it.
I get it, but why?
But that's the first step.
Exactly, and the thing about Iysh is I can take ownership of it because at the end of the day,
No, I
it's who
respect
I
it.
am, innit? It's who I am.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I've been in a relationship with a narcissist, yeah? And a lot of these traits that I have are learned behaviours. Because
that's bitterness.
it's not bitterness because I'm not bitter. I'm really, really not bitter because you can sit there and say it's bitterness, but my experience of being with a narcissist, yeah, was he had a very strong sense of importance of himself that nobody else saw, yeah? So it's like, it's my way or the highway. You have to listen to me because I'm always right. What you're saying is wrong. This narcissist is wrong and strong. So I could be saying to him, listen, the sky is blue. No, you're wrong. It's red, purple and green. Like, no, fam. Yeah, they control you. Yeah, I was isolated from my family. Yeah, I didn't have he got rid of all my support system. Yeah, he financially controlled me. Yeah, I'm still being financially controlled by him to this day.
So for me, solutions what you need, innit? Like,
I've got
to get it.
solutions. I've got solutions. So basically, you see with narcissists, I feel like everything reverts back to control. Everything comes down to control. Yeah, so if you can't control you mentally, physically, spiritually, break
whatever
you
way,
down,
yeah.
the last thing is
You cut off the
financially.
narcissistic
So what
supply.
you do is now
Yeah.
is me, unfortunately, me and this narcissist, we have 2 children together, yeah? So when I say you control me financially, you've got 2 children that you do not contribute towards financially. You're not there emotionally, physically, spiritually, or whatever, and you don't help financially either. It's control. Because what you want to do is you don't want to give me no money because you don't want me out here looking good. You don't want my hair done. You don't want my nails done. You want me spending all of my money on your kids. So what's left for me? But unfortunately, not even unfortunately, fortunately, my solution for this problem is I'm going to become so financially independent that I don't need to look to anybody for anything. Does that make sense?
You take away their importance and
Yeah.
focus on yourself.
Yeah, that for me makes perfect sense. Just that. Hang on a second, but for you to then say, I learnt these traits from him, so I'm going to be it, and then owning it, and you lot, sorry, maybe not so much this side, but you personally, going, oh yeah, you can't. Hang on a minute,
me?
yeah, you cracking up
not-
laughing.
what did I say?
Listen, it ain't funny, yeah, it ain't funny.
No, because
don't find it funny.
I don't truly believe she's a
I'm not good.
narcissist.
Let me speak for a minute.
I'm not articulating myself properly, but
We know
let me
that,
just
we know
articulate
that.
myself a little bit better, yeah?
I get it.
When I come out of that relationship, yeah, from I was 16 years old, I was financially dependent on him. So when I come out of that relationship, I was illiterate. I didn't know how to budget. I didn't know how to do nothing. Yeah, and I was very hurt. Okay? So me being so hurt, anybody who came into contact with me, I would hurt them through the learned behaviours of what I've learned from him. I'm not saying that I'm still like that and I still do those things, but reflection, keyword, reflection.
100%. And I think when you're back in balance, you won't be even thinking about
100%.
manipulating anyone.
100%.
Right now, what?
Sometimes.
Give me a chance, yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes you
What I've learned about myself, that I hope maybe if you've got empathy, you're gonna get it, is that see when you come out of something with someone and it hasn't worked out for whatever the reasons are, details don't matter. For me, you can think you're okay, and this is where I feel like analysing myself. There have been moments where I've had the narcissistic traits, although I might actually be a narcissist. I know it's like I'm a hypocrite now, but now I kind of get those 3 examples that you set early on. So for me personally, I felt like once I'd come out of something with someone and it went left, you might think, I'm all right now, 6 months down the line, a year down the line, you might feel like you're okay, but it's only when you try to start something again with someone else, you realise that you're not back in balance. You realise that your heart's not where it should
I'll give you an example. When I was with a narcissist, like you said, this whole sense of importance, but he had like a fake life. Like he made himself seem like someone who he wasn't, down to jobs, like occupation stuff that he used to do. Like it was terrible. And the way he used to prey on women, I found in his phone a gallery, a folder in his gallery, and it had me in it as well. So it was kind of like pictures of women that he's either already slept with or he's planning to. So he was strategizing how he would manipulate people, and all these girls, even people that he would have around me, but he was so good at what he'd done. And the reason I saw red flags and I ignored them, because when I met this man, he was everything on paper. Everything on paper. Everything I'd been looking for.
Yeah, but...
Right?
Hang on a second. Just to interject for a moment. What's this list?
Exactly. I'm going to get to that. So reflection on myself. Where I had, like, you know, previously gone with my heart and stuff, I thought, okay, what's good on paper? I need a man that provides. I need a man that does this. I need a man who likes to travel. Yeah. But not just the material things. He's spiritual. I went to his house and he had a couple books and stuff that I read as well. He just seemed brilliant on paper.
And African carving are always like, yes, this guy knows the
You're a fool.
Couple spears in the background and that was like, yeah, this guy's more cultured than that.
But yeah, my point is...
I don't like you, lot.
I need to recover.
It's the same again. Some guys, some couple has got a little Buddha over there. And they've got make your mind up, make your mind up. Like, what are you into? Make your mind up. Do you know what I'm saying?
A cross.
No, for me.
I beg.
Do you know what? I should have known when I saw that one book. When I saw...
I'm crying at lunchtime.
But yeah, everything on paper, blah, blah, blah. As it all started coming apart, it was like everything that I'd done, literally, if I'd moved like this, I was made to feel like my very being, me breathing, was wrong. Yeah. And I was constantly on a sense of, can I go get water? Yes, man. Like, why are you always asking me? Do you know what I mean? It's stuff like that. And to the world, I'm a strong woman. Do you know what I mean? No one can talk to me like that. But behind closed doors, you've broken me down to this. And what narcissists do, it's a cycle in order to get that, what I just mentioned, narcissistic supply. So they idealise you. So when you meet some of these people, they love bomb you. Straight away, you're amazing, you're this, you're that, you go this place, you go that. Then they devalue you. They bring you from here to down here, then they discard you.
Plan or
it's not a plan. It's just what, you know, therapists have studied it, and it seems to be the same pattern with everyone. Yeah. But what, from your point, it wasn't until I started seeing someone else, I thought I was over it. I found myself in someone's house who had invited me, had a lovely dinner for me, and I asked every moment, is it all right if I get some pepper? Is it all right if I did it? I thought I was over it. And this man's looking at me like I'm mad. Why don't you just get the thing? Like, why are you always asking me questions?
Relax, basically, just go.
And I had to explain, I thought I was over it. And I had to explain to him, I was broken down so much. I was made to feel like even if I breathe, I'm doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I can relate to that.
Do you know what I mean?
I can definitely relate to that. Because for me, it was always apologising. I'm always saying sorry. What am I sorry for?
So
Just for
from
being
what
you.
both of you are both saying, it sounds like narcissists, it highly correlates with abuse, whether it's emotional, I don't know about physical, I mean, but emotional
It can
abuse.
be physical Because especially within male narcissists, it is quite well known that they have a tendency to be violent, to violence.
I mean, I don't believe I've come across a narcissist. I don't like to throw around these keywords so loosely because I feel like we become desensitized to it. So when we actually do come across someone who actually is a narcissist, we've now turned it into sort of trend word and no one will take it seriously. I have probably dated people who I believe was on the spectrum. There was some sort of grandiose sort of ideations and stuff like that. And the cycle that you mentioned about them uplifting you just to devalue you, maybe in my younger days. But I'll ask you this. Do you reckon that they target specific women or they can sense a certain trait in a woman
Absolutely.
or a male, because it works both ways?
I disagree, because you know what it is? You see, sometimes when you're with someone for a long time, it's like you're not their partner anymore. It's like somehow you become their property. Does that make sense?
I think that's with toxic situations, yeah.
But narcissism is toxic.
Yeah.
So it's like when you get with someone at the beginning, it's completely different to a year down the line, 2 years down the line, because it's like things happen, things change, people have to accommodate to the other person. It's like you have to give and take, innit?
But do you think they I'm not saying that they're prowling like tiger or anything like that, but do you think they see certain characteristics in a female and they know, yeah, I can have my way with this one?
What I found after when I came out of my situation, it got to a point where I was seeing what this guy was doing to me. And you know, as a woman, you start losing. Once you stop caring, that's when you know that you're done. And it was kind of like we just had things that we had to sort out that we were tied into together. And I actually was really intrigued by this man's mind. Like, how do you work this way? What's happened? And I asked him, when I started getting sick of his shit, I remember I asked him one day, what happened to you as a child? What is wrong? What has happened to you for you to be that broken that everyone you come across, you use them, even though you've got someone in your life that loves you, is helping you build a life, you're still willing to just crush me like that? What's happened to you? Nothing.
Do you know what?
But when I've gotten to know the family, you can see why. Obviously, I'm not going to speak on it, but like I said, and I think that's why a lot more men tend to be narcissistic. Because
So
I
what
think
are the red
men, when they're
flags?
younger,
What do you think the red flags are that we...
Can I address that, please?
Go ahead.
Yeah. I don't think it's a male thing at all.
No.
I think, but
Can I explain to you before you answer me what I was going to say?
Yeah, cool.
The reason I feel like it's more common in men is because from a very young age, men are not valued for being like women are valued for being. Oh, she's so soft, she's so lovely, she's so da da da. With men, it's like a lot of men, should I say, not all families. Yeah. What did you achieve? Did you win in PE today? Blah blah blah. Did you like all of these materialistic achievements?
Yeah, I think
it could be a reason.
From my research, I couldn't find anything conclusive that states that it's more biased or men have more suffer from narcissism more than women. But what I did find was that there is a correlation between the disenfranchised groups and narcissism. So that's like people that are ethnic minorities, LGBT plus community, people like that there tends to be more of a prevalence of people either exhibiting narcissistic traits or through to full-blown personality disorders. And the reason being is that, like you were mentioning about what is emphasised in the developmental stage, because you're dealing with adversity, children are raised to be very, very like resilient and strong, and it's taken away from some of those more like softer attributes, which then can manifest later on in life through exhibiting, I'm going to say again, narcissistic traits. Not narcissism, because again, we're not psychiatrists and psychologists, but narcissistic traits. And the studies do show as well that, it can develop into full-blown narcissism.
Sorry, guys,
the red flag.
Hang on a minute. You saying us from... Sorry,
Go on.
Porsche.
No.
What did you say? Is that fringe?
The marginalised groups, yeah.
I just read this, Just the definition of sarcasm. Psychology: selfishness involving a sense of entitlement, a lack of empathy, a need for admiration as characterising a personality type. I don't know why. I read this. The first person that popped into my mind was Hancock. You know Matt Hancock, the geezer that gives the
Health secretary. Yeah.
Yeah. The other day, you all see Pierce Brosnan crushing him, just questioning him and crushing him.
Morgan.
To me, that's his name, isn't it? Pierce Morgan.
Yeah.
So this guy was just questioning Hancock. For me, he, in that moment, was being a full-blown narcissist. He's a politician. Not Pierce, Hancock. He asked him a direct question about the food in schools and he wouldn't accept he was in the wrong. He wouldn't apologise for his mistake. He had no justification for what he said then, and he wouldn't pose any kind of reason or answering to what is being asked in that moment. For me, that guy is a complete 100% in that moment a narcissist. You get it? So although those stats may have some truth to them, it just shows that they're the opposite side of that. Within, I mean, he would be deemed as quite high up in our society. I mean, he's the health secretary for the whole country, but he's there and he's a narcissist.
There is correlations as well with...
Or he has traits. Do you know what I'm saying?
There's also correlations that the more sort of powerful positions people are, the more they are likely to have narcissistic traits as well. Especially malignant narcissists, which is probably the most well-known and dangerous kind of narcissism. It's literally like 1 degree separation from a sociopath in many ways. The only difference between a sociopath and a malignant narcissist is that a malignant narcissist can actually, upon reflection or work with therapy, can actually feel sorry for the things that they do, whereas a sociopath will never. Yeah,
and that's actually what you saw with...
I mean, going off of what you've just said, it does make sense that the higher up someone is, they're more likely to have these narcissistic traits only because their position alone gives them a sense of, important. They feel a bit more superior. But just to round it up a bit, what are the red flags?
I just want to say one quick thing, though.
Go on, Faith.
I don't think it's a bad thing to be a narcissist. In some instances, I feel like we need narcissists in society.
We need selfishness.
We need somebody
for ourselves.
Thing as well.
I don't agree, but go on.
Right. One type of narcissist that you will find, the people that are the charity ones. They're the first people to go out and campaign vehemently for any kind of, cause. And they're the forefront. They're the ones that galvanise everyone and affect change. But they're doing it obviously always for the wrong reasons, if you're a narcissist doing it. But at the same time, you think to yourself, well, they might be horrible to their friends and family, but they are also changing part of the world. So
for brownie points.
But it's true because they might destroy the people around them, but what they've been able to take that aside.
Sorry, my face is saying a lot. I'm listening to you.
Remove that, okay? But they're the ones that are starting the foundations. They're running the NGOs. They're campaigning for change.
But why? What are they doing behind closed doors?
The motive is
if they have no empathy.
But if I look at someone, say now, like. I'm not saying the Black Lives Matter woman is a narcissist, I'm not. And take away, lots of people don't agree with Black Lives Matter, but let's just take away the politics and all the stuff around it. Black Lives Matter as a statement and a movement is a good thing, right? Let's just say, hypothetically, the woman that started it is a narcissist. Now, the fact that last year we had a racial revolution, is that not a good thing? Even if she's doing it for her own self-gratification. Do you understand what I mean?
I get it.
So I'm just saying we need people like that. I'm not saying it's good.
No, I think
it provides a balance of
I think you need that person.
Like that.
I think you need those individuals doing those things without them being narcissists. I think I definitely think you can be in that position and have a lot of empathy and still be trying to help people, etc. But I need to know what were you just saying?
I would say I wouldn't agree that we need narcissism. I would say that selfishness.
Yeah, why? How?
Is a good.
When is selfishness ever okay?
Semantics, though.
No. No, because it's a thin line. Being selfish is a lot different to, like, me being selfish might be, oh, there's a last sweet, I ain't going to tell no one I'm going to eat it, or there's only 2 sweets, I'm greedy, I'm going to eat. That's selfish. Me being a narcissist is, you lot ain't eating 12 hours, and I'm going to be like, forget you, which I am, forget you lot, do you know what I mean? No empathy at all. That's how I see it. Don't start looking up definitions, Clint. I'm not too sure, but I believe in balance. So I get, even though I don't fully agree with what Faith is saying, if we have all good you're never going to know what the bad is to appreciate the good. I'm better off from being with a narcissist because I've learned a lot in that relationship. And yes, he was a bastard to other people, but he got things that he wanted. And being around him enough, I saw certain things and certain industries that he was involved in. I picked up on a lot and I learned a lot. But so I try and find the balance and reflect and see the good in a situation. But now when I reflect back on that, and like you said, red flags, this person, when I think back on him, you would, you know, you're the same people that you're using to help build your business and be successful. You're coming home and doing pillow talk and talking bad about them, but you're using them. You're using their supply that they're giving you and everything to get further. What do you say about me? What do you say? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Of course not. That's when I started really losing respect for him, because I know it sounds crazy, but sometimes you can't see it when someone's treating you a certain way. Yeah. You have to see them treating someone else like that. Yeah. And for me, it was like, this is your boy, and you're saying that. And this is what you're doing. And just little stuff like that. And I did see I can't list all the red flags because, boy, it'll just be a red blanket. But I
what were the three top?
I ignored them.
Three top red flags, would you say? 3 top red flags, just to round it up.
Lack of accountability. So for an example, he used to do things wrong and then I'd pull him up or something and then he'd be like, oh, I was just testing you. Or he got something wrong. I'd address him. Oh, I was just testing you. You can't, no accountability. Love bombing. If you meet someone and then straight away, you're amazing, you're beautiful, I want to have kids with you, or you don't know me. How can you want to be with me and think I'm the most amazing thing in the world? You don't know me. You just want me in your clutches so that when I know you well enough, I'm there and I'm hooked. That's the second one. The third one, I would say someone who doesn't compliment you. I know it sounds so silly, right? But I remember there was a time that, you know, someone that likes compliments but doesn't want to give compliments. So you know that sense of grandioso, like they revel in people giving them compliments and how amazing they are. But you might start seeing him act away if someone tells you or she, oh, you look nice. Suddenly they're in a mood. Do you know what I mean? And then that's what they start to do. Like I said, they build you up and then they break you down. Even stuff as small as not giving you a kiss in the morning, not giving you a compliment when you do look nice, because they need to keep you down. They need to keep you broken. That's always intentional. No, I'm saying from my experience of a narcissist, I can't. Those were my top red flags. But me, I'm the kind of person that I'm not out here. I'm looking good for myself. But if your partner isn't giving you compliments, and on top of it, not even just not giving compliments, oh, you're going to wear that. Stuff like that, so you are continuously doubting yourself. Yeah,
but that's not always narcissism, though. Like,
I'm saying my red flags from my experience with a narcissist. There are others, but if you want me to start crying here, shit, I'll bring up the beat.
No, I'm saying, it seems like you're just, for me, observing what you're saying and speaking to my other girlfriends when we've had those conversations. Sometimes that just happens, but it's got nothing to do with narcissism. It sounds like from your experience, you're maybe attributing some things that happen between you and him that happen to a load of women, girls and guys in their relationships that isn't attributed to narcissism. Like,
okay,
for example,
so,
you have ups and downs in your relationship. We all know there might be times when you're just not affectionate for a week or two.
No, it's strategic. We haven't got long enough for me to get into it, but
no worries.
It's strategic.
We can definitely carry this on a different. How about you, Iysh? What are your red flags or your solutions?
I wouldn't really say red flags, but I would just say, like, in my experience, when I was like at my lowest point, like dealing with a narcissist, it left me feeling broken, like I really lost myself in that relationship. And for me, it's like, once I was kind of done with it, it's like, for me, it's like, I didn't even know who I was anymore. So it's like, I had to find myself again. And it's like, once I found myself again, it's like, that's when I had to learn to love myself unapologetically. So then that ties in with being selfish, because at the end of the day, no one's gonna have you like you've got you. So then once you find you, and you love you need to put a price on that just to see the value of, like, what am I willing to have to lose this again? Like, for me personally, I can't put a price on it, so I am very selfish. Like, so, but yeah.
Well, thank you for your honesty. I'm glad, both of you, for like sharing both of your stories. How about you, Clint? This is the first. This is the first.
You know, it is. I'm trying to give it the most important three.
The thing is, if you've been with a narcissist, there's so many. There's so many to pick.
Yeah.
You know, I just feel like, you know.
I mean, yeah, or
For
any
me,
closing words, it's
so
fine.
I'd say, I suppose all women have got this trait. And I know I'm going to sound generic. Mate, if you don't listen, that's a massive fucking problem.
Wow.
Next, Faith, what's your
The one preaching about bringing generic
What you're saying,
relationship
what you've
the one
all
that
said
says listening.
is narcissistic. Your response is narcissistic. You get it?
Faith,
Because
next.
the problem is, yeah, narcissists don't want to listen because they always think they're right. Am I wrong?
You sound so narcissistic, Clint.
How do... What?
Reflecting. You're deflecting.
It don't make no sense. You're like,
Take accountability. Just take accountability.
you see.
You just said all women don't
ownership.
listen.
See, the listening part, yeah, the listening part for me, Porsche, is really, really important. And when I say listening, yeah, I mean being able to communicate. You get it?
Oh, you
And
say, but
I
you're not
find-
saying
listen.
conversate. You're
No,
saying
but-
listen.
Communication's different.
Porsche's question was red flags. What are the top 3 red flags?
Of narcissists.
100%. So if we're early on, if something arises and we're talking at, and I'm like, whatever I say to you, it's not going into your head, that's a red flag for me. Because there is no reasoning. There's no, okay, I understand, what about this? There's no backwards and forwards. So for me, massive red flag is you not listening.
Sorry to cut you, but that's not really listening. That's
No, cut him because he cut me.
He's got a point. He's got a point.
But it's not
Let him
not
land.
listening. That's lack of healthy communication.
I see where
Yeah,
you're
but
coming
you said red flags of a narcissist.
No, this
Narcissists
is
don't
his
listen.
personal experience with a narcissist. So
Yeah.
let's not interrupt him like he interrupted me when I was doing mine.
Yeah, continue. Take the floor. Take the mic. Okay, second.
The second thing, yeah. You're lucky I can't think of something to say back to you right now. You know that? Otherwise I would.
It's because I'm right.
The second thing is being apologetic, is accountability. Yeah. And the third thing I'd say is, to me, it's just those two. I wouldn't even say there was a third. For me, it's communication as in terms of listening, right? Because a lot of people, before you even finish your sentence, they've got something else to say. They can't hear out what you're saying because they're so concerned with what they've got in their minds. That to them, that's always going to be important. So that and accountability.
Okay. Thank you, Clint.
I agree with you when you're talking about the not comprehending thing, but I think personally I don't feel like it's necessarily narcissism. What I do feel is narcissistic about it is if they're not wanting to listen because it requires a level of self-introspection, which narcissists don't have. So they might not be able to take accountability because they don't want to listen, because they can't. But I personally just feel like it's all very... it doesn't matter whether we have red flags or not. What's fundamental and key is, do you feel happy in that relationship? Are you losing a part of yourself? Doesn't matter if they're a narcissist or they've got some other personality disorder or whatever. I just feel like it's all very semantic. It's just it's all semantic sitting here and saying, oh, they have this, this and this. Ultimately, are you happy? Are you being respected? If you're not, leave. Simple, because you will lose yourself, you destroy yourself, and I think that's the most important thing.
I appreciate that, guys. For me personally, yeah, my vetting process is very, very stringent. I run at any red flags, whether it's narcissist, like you said, all these semantics and stuff like that, whether it's narcissism, inflated sense of ego, whatever. If I see something I don't like, I'm out of there. I don't even say bye sometimes. I don't care. Whether that's a narcissistic trait of my self, I leave the comments to decide. But anyways, guys, thanks for joining us on this episode. Please like, comment and subscribe.